The Kia EV6 GT and Hyundai Ioniq 5N are two of the best high-performance EVs available today. And even though these hatchbacks are very closely related, their personalities are surprisingly different. Now, I have not had a chance to experience either of these EGMP cars on a racetrack until now. I'll be taking each one out for a very quick lap around Road America here in Elkhart Lake, Wisconsin to suss out their differences. So I'm starting out in the Kia EV6 GT. I'm all set, cleared for launch. Let's see how this thing does. On the throttle, easy out of the pit lane here, wide open. Wow, this thing hustles, already doing 80 miles per hour. Braking well in advance of the first turn here, turning in. Definitely feel the weight of this car. EVs, of course, are very heavy. The EV6 GT is not an exception, but man, this thing is quick off the line, coming up to the next turn here, on the brakes way early, hard on the brakes, into the next turn. Body stays really flat in the corners. Well done for Kia. Back on the accelerator pedal, coming up under the cheesy bridge to a little chicane of cones they've added. Gonna go to on the brakes here, just because I'm not familiar. To the left, to the right, slow it way down here, and back again. Again, the car is staying nice and flat in these turns, and man, this thing will run when you get on the accelerator pedal. So, the GT model here, standard all-wheel drive, you got 576 horsepower and up to 545 pound-feet of torque, which of course gives you that very powerful acceleration. Up the hill here to Corvette Bridge. I'm going to hit the brakes way early because I've got another left-hand turn into the corner here. There's the apex cone and out again. Rolling on the accelerator, experiencing that speed that this drivetrain offers into another sort of sweeping right-hand turn. Road America is about 4 miles in length, and it's a lot of fun, and you can get some serious speed on this track. I'm a pretty conservative driver, so I'm never really the one that's pushing the cars that hard, but even here, it's not uncommon to see triple-digit speeds. Back on the accelerator, heading up to the long, sweeping right-hand turn here. I'm going to stay roughly in the middle, just because that's where I'm comfortable. And again, with this sort of sustained turn, I'm doing about 65 miles an hour, not really pushing the car, but again, body very flat, though of course you feel the weight. Very heavy. Steering is beautifully weighted on the brakes here for this next turn to the left. Steering is nice and heavy, and again, for an EV, a surprisingly agile feel given the weight of this car. On the throttle, thing scoots off the line. Like many electrics, of course, it does start to feel a little winded at higher speeds. I'm doing about $110 right now, and I'm just going to tap the brakes because that's enough. We've got another chicane here, some cones to navigate, so a quick flick to the left, back to the right again, and another sea of cones. So super impressive, a lot of fun to drive on track. That's really where this car was designed to be used, because of the incredible performance that it does offer. It doesn't scramble your organs, it's not that quick, but again, plenty of speed in the EV6 GT right here. And of course, just like other EGMP-based cars, you've got a 77.4 kilowatt-hour battery pack that'll DC fast charge 10 to 80% in just about 18 minutes. Fantastic performance at the DC fast charger or at your favorite track, which again, in this case, is Road America in Elkhart Lake, Wisconsin. So Kia EV6 GT, sharp handling, good cornering capability. That body does stay flat. The ride quality is nice, although this surface is very smooth. And of course, the car does deliver sledgehammer levels of acceleration. Top speed is 161 miles per hour, and the 0 to 60, just 3.4 seconds when you punch that accelerator from a standstill. A lot of fun. So I'm in the Hyundai Ioniq 5N right now, and this promises even more performance than the Kia I just tested. And if I, oh wow, of course this will simulate gear shifts like you would have with an 8-speed dual clutch transmission. And as you just saw a second ago, I was bouncing off the rev limiter, which is crazy in an EV. It's shifting really firmly in the current drive setting, and of course you don't get any engine braking. There's no compression, there are no pistons moving, no connecting rods or anything, but it really does feel like you're driving a combustion-powered car, and there's noise that backs up that sensation as well. So surprisingly fun. I'm gearing down right now. Gearing down, I don't know why, to snake through this little chicane here. A little bit more body roll, I feel, than perhaps the Kia, but we have more power in this Hyundai, up to 641 horses and 568 pound-feet of torque. Those are with the N Grin boost mode engaged. Really unleashes the fury. Gives you a limited amount of time for extra acceleration. Here we go into another left-hand turn here, unwind the wheel a little bit, forward again. So this car has 221 miles of estimated range, just a little bit more than the Kia EV6 GT. And that additional range comes courtesy of a slightly larger battery pack, 84 kilowatt hours. So a few extra kilowatt hours there, a little bit more juice that you can have for additional range and of course performance. In the appropriate driving mode, this car will go from 0 to 60 in a Hyundai estimated 3 1/4 seconds. So yes, it is very quick. This thing absolutely scoots. Like I mentioned, it has simulated powertrain noise. It has a simulated 8-speed dual clutch transmission, which you can run through the gears. Again, I'm downshifting for this next turn here. It's hilarious. It doesn't really do anything. It does change the engine noise, but performance-wise, it doesn't do much. But it's still a hell of a lot of fun to do. Wide open throttle here. We're accelerating past 90 miles an hour, 102. That's enough for right now. I want to save some battery for other folks. We're slowing down here for the next little chicane just to keep your speed under control. Snaking to the left, back to the right again. Crisp steering, although honestly, I'm not entirely certain how the car is set up. I believe it is in its most aggressive setting, based on what I can see on the screen here. But it does seem to have a little bit more body roll than the Kia as you're going through these corners. Braking, of course, very reassuring. Plenty of stopping power. Although, just like the EV6 GT, no surprise for an EV, there's a lot of weight here. You definitely feel it in the corners. But I'll tell you, Hyundai has done a damn fine job building an electric vehicle that delivers a truly sporty driving experience. EV and motoring fun are not mutually exclusive. They can coexist, and the Hyundai Ioniq 5N here proves that. Now, is this vehicle for everyone? Of course it's not. A lot of EVs are probably better as normal everyday vehicles for efficient commuting. A car you can charge at home, save money on fuel, much better for the environment because you have no tailpipe emissions. So EVs have a place. And for the most part, I think that's for everyday vehicles. However, performance is certainly an option, which is something the Hyundai Ioniq 5N here proves. Driving home the point that this is a performance-focused EV. Of course, we have unique aerodynamics on the outside of the car, special styling too, and we have 21-inch wheels wrapped in summer tires for loads of grip out on the track. But here I am, back at the paddock, putting it in park. I think I used about, I want to say 5% of the battery on that lap. So 5% for 4 miles of driving isn't a very good return on your electrical investment. However, it was a hell of a lot of fun. So 2 thumbs up for the Hyundai here. Okay, so which of these EVs is better in a track setting? Well, they both drive extremely well and are fast as hell. The Kia perhaps feels a touch more planted, though I'll tell you, this Hyundai here is far more interesting thanks in large part to that simulated 8-speed transmission. I mean, pulling the levers and bouncing off a rev limiter in an EV is kind of a crazy experience. Now, for normal, everyday on-street use, I think I would prefer the EV6 GT. Though, like I just said, this Hyundai is far more interesting, and I think I prefer the styling, though you do pay for that because the N here is more expensive. The EV6 GT kicks off at just about $63,000, including delivery, though this one begins at just about $67,500, so it is a few grand more expensive than the Kia. Regardless, though, these are both fantastic EVs, though I do give the edge to this Hyundai. Hey, if you want another eGMP-based vehicle that's far more practical than performant, consider the Kia EV9, which of course has 3 rows of seats, and you can check out my full review of this all-electric SUV by clicking right over here.